Okay, so in these problems, we're going to be using our basic truth tables to then come up with the truth table or the truth value for a more complex kind of a compound statement. And the nice thing is that the steps that we need to take are all outlined for us in the table. Okay, so this first column says what you need to do is you look at the p-value, the given p-value, and then you identify the negation of p. So I'm going to completely ignore the q column. So I'm not looking at the q column in this case, and I'm just looking at the p and then negating the p. So for that, if I look at my basic table, the basic table says if my original value is true, then the negated value is going to be false. And it really doesn't matter the lettering. So I can kind of erase the lettering here because the letters don't have to match for any of these. But I'll come back to that, I guess. All right. So anyways, the negation is pretty easy because your trues become false and your falses becomes true. Okay. Then for the next column, what this says is that you identify the truth value for a negated p. We just did that. It's in this column. Now let's look at the q value that's in this column and join those two together using the OR connection. So this is looking at this table right here. All right. So the first row, and I can kind of read it in order. So I'm starting at false, and then Q is true. And so false, true, that's this row right here. The result of that is true. Then the next row, both of the inputs are false, so the result of that is false. Then the next, both their inputs are true, the result of doing the OR connective is true. And then false, or true, false, that's also true. Okay, so in other words, we've got false, false, true, true, and then join the negated P with Q with an OR gets us true, false, true, and true. All right, the next one, it's we're now negating Q statement and then joining the P with the negated Q. Okay, so again, negation is pretty easy. Just you look at the original Q column and just switch the value. So true becomes false, false becomes true, true becomes false, false becomes true. Okay, now let's see what we're going to do next. And so for the next column, again, we're now joining using the AND symbol. Oh, it's right here. Yeah. So I'm going to be looking at this basic table because of that same AND symbol. And again, I don't care about the letters. All I care about is the specific input values and what the result is. Okay, so I'm joining the P column right here and then the negated Q column because of the negated Q. And I'm going to join them with the AND. So the first row says I've got the true and false. So I'm looking at my table. True and false is false. So my first answer is false. Second row, true and true. So true and true is true. And the third row, they're both false. And when they're both false, the result is false. Then false true is false true. The result is false. All right. So the AND, if you're joining two things with an AND, if you see a false, the whole thing becomes false.